Welcome to a somewhat unusual build. So we have this confluence here, which means there's two rivers connecting to each other, or flowing into each other rather. And this is right across the old town, as you can see here in my city. And this is inspired by the river confluence in Koblenz, Germany. I'll put a video right here. And it is a huge park in real life, and I want to do just that. And as a starting point, I really want to bring home the point that this is pedestrian focused. So first of all, we're trying to utilize the Park Life DLC to the best of our ability. Added the park entrances, and now immediately jumping to public transportation because I figured, that is the main draw. But I couldn't get the intersection marking tool to look nicely there, so instead I just copy pasted some other bus stops from a nearby area, and there wasn't an easy way for me to widen that sidewalk with decals. So instead, I just used pedestrian path. Like, people can generally use this in game. So you will see pedestrians utilize the full width of that broad sidewalk, and I think that makes it very pedestrian friendly. Adding some bollards just to make it safe, especially that plaza in front of the elevated train station. And basically the idea right now is to get some main pathways going, like get the rough layout, the rough shape going. Just quickly had to change the trees there. But that's an easy fix. There's a lot of mods that let you tweak that stuff. So one thing that you will see multiple times throughout this video is we have some height issues. So there's going to be a lot of use of the terraforming network, a lot of tricks to hide imperfections in height, as you could see right there with the transition between the path and the pavement texture. And that's the statue we're going with. Not sure about the size yet, but we just need a nice base for that, right? In real life, there's steps leading up to it. Figured I'd use this one. Just gotta hide the ones from the from the base model of that statue, right? So this is, of course, two different assets we're just clipping into each other. Also, let me know if you know from which game this statue is. I think a lot of you will recognize this. Another thing to remember is that the quay walls actually function in-game as pedestrian walkways. So we don't need pathway connection between the upper and the lower pathways from the Park Life DLC because the pedestrians can utilize the quay walls as a pathway as well. Going to give this a nice tiled or like brickworks plaza surrounding the statue, just so there's space for plenty of people there. Oh yeah, by the way, we're going to fix the transitions there between the two ground textures. And also, there's going to be a very, very neat trick at the end of the video to show you like how to make different ground covers look more cohesive, especially paved textures, and then what's it called, like grass and gravel and that kind of stuff. Right, next step, give it some nice flowers. Also acts as a barrier, kind of, because I do want to have people walk around and then see that statue from the front instead of just walking on that lawn from the side. And here you can actually see me try and fix that gap. This is from the terraforming network, but we still need to fill it either with POs or networks, and it's tough, I tell you, because it's not such an easy fix, even with all the mods we have at our disposal. Now, I figured where the ferry stops are, this is where we will need public toilets, maybe a ticket booth, an info booth, all that stuff, all these park amenities. Give it some nice decorations, as well as, of course, some paved surface to make it all look a little more cohesive. In the middle, I really like that wide open space. Still no idea what to do with it yet, so instead I, switched focus to creating an absolutely massive, like the main city playground. So basically imagine hundreds of kids, parents, like this is a huge park. This is basically the city's main attraction, just like in real life. And I figured it'd be nice to have like a big main playground there. Adding some bike infrastructure. It's sadly not functional, but I think it fits the vibe of, having this be multimodal. So different modes of transportation, all connected. Now here, I go a little crazy with trees, just because for little kids, shade is very, very important. And it is a nice contrast between that open lawn space. For example, there might be concerts, there might be events. So it is. The idea is to have it be more open, and then that tree cover, that canopy, gives it a nice little contrast. Also, adding some bars and some ice cafes and all that nice stuff there. For people to sit and grab a beer. There's actually a beer garden at the real life confluence park, the Deutsches Eck in Koblenz as well. And that's basically another area done. Now, again, we need to fix these gaps in the ground there. But at the same time, here we have the issue that I can't make it all just flat and fill it up. There's a slope to the terrain, and I need to work with that because I need that slope, because otherwise bridge and the quay wall just wouldn't work, right? So using a bit of a flattening tool, adding another walkway, because I figured, if this is where the ferry stops are, people get up the stairs and then you want an immediate pedestrian connection. Pedestrians always take the shortest routes, while cars are, they can do detours. They're more okay with not having to take the optimal route, whereas for pedestrians, multiple meters, like 5-6 meters, might already be too much. The blocks you saw me add were so-called entertainment block services. It's basically a park that I can clip into the statue to force people in-game to understand that this is a park, right? Now, I told you that I will show you a trick on how to make different surfaces work better together. And basically, we just need a curb network and add it surrounding the paved surface and between the paved surface and the grass. And in real life, just walk through a city or an area and see how many barriers or breaks between different surfaces there are, and you will suddenly start to realize they're everywhere. Everywhere there's little curbstones, there's fences, there is hedges, basically transitions between different spaces. And I'm doing this all over. Now, the Park Life path already has that kind of curbstone. But for the rest, for the quay walls, for the flat surfaces I placed, I gotta do it all over. Also, I'm too lazy to try and figure out the height here, because A, you won't see it from afar, B, it is already so wonky on that peninsula. So, instead I'll try and fix the curbstones, adding some nice flowers, adding an easy flower bed right there. And I think on that side we're nearly done right now. The only thing we gotta do is connect it up to the other side of that bridge, and that should be this stretch right here. You might see the camera jiggle around a bit, as well as me having trouble grabbing that network. And that is just because it is there's so many overlapping assets there. It is tough. So for that free space in the middle, I added a park, and the idea was to remove the lanterns, but somehow with the bot mod I just couldn't. It wouldn't work, and it took me such a long time, trying out different ideas of getting rid of them, and it just wouldn't work. And I think later on I went with a version of just adding these what are they called, service block, like these entertainment blocks, because even here, oh no, see, that worked. Yeah, that for that park it somehow worked to remove the lanterns. Oh well. Fixing that up with curbstones, even zoomed out, you still see that very slight difference. It is such a huge difference that it makes visually with very little effort. I mean, if that peninsula and that key network wasn't so finicky, it would be so easy to just place them. Also, adding some little more well-maintained trees to the piers or to the ferry stops. Also, cool thing, you can already see the people walking that quay wall as well as walking towards the statue. And basically this is the point where I'm like, is it really, like, is that large enough? Is that statue large enough? Because in real life, as you could see in the video, that statue is absolutely massive. It is multiple stories tall, and I thought, you know what, zoomed out, it has to be larger. And basically, zooming out, double checking if the overall style fits. And I was happy with it, and the last tweak is just adding some flags for all of you international viewers here, because there's plenty of flags in the real life Confluence Park as well, and I think it just gives it the last little touch it needs. And that's it. Enjoy the cinematics.